Okay, I think we're live now. Haven't quite got the countdown yet, but I'm sure that time's going to start here soon. Usually there's a little timer that pops up here on StreamYard. Yep, there we are. Got a little eyeball signal. Hello everyone, and welcome to a cold, rainy Saturday as of the time of recording. You'll be watching this maybe live, maybe in the future, maybe in the past. Who's to say what the progression of time looks like by the time you're viewing this? This is a grumpy old guy gaming, in some circles known as Agog, more accurately these days, the guy playing Agog. And had a couple questions popping up and just wanted to take some time. It's kind of a cool, rainy day and don't got a lot going on this morning. Pop up the old Intellivision Lives game from this is the PS2 port that came out in the I want to say early to mid 2000s. And I'll be playing a few games on here and chatting a bit. And there's one I wanted to get to right away. One, because my son has been fiending, absolutely fiending on it of late. And two, because I had a question, random comment the other day about Tower of Doom and why the colors were glitching up so badly. Now, the first time I played it through, I remember doing a recording on OBS, and it's actually on my old computer, which is now my son's. And that thing was a bit past its prime when I was playing it then. That had to be 2020, 2021, so I don't think it was that, though, now that I'm looking back on it. Because I've been watching him play a little bit, and I've been playing a little myself. I think that's just how it looks. We're going to go ahead, fire it up, and give it a play. As you can see, pretty straightforward button setup here. Oh, I pulled up Thunder Castle first. That's a problem. Wow. There we are, Tower of Doom. Actually, we'll play Thunder Castle at some point in this stream. Love that music. Love that whole damn game. Okay, so this is a bit more intuitive a setup. That looks a bit more like it. Got the old equip hold button, the square button that gets me in a ton of trouble because every time you go to use something in the menu, a monster always seems to fly into the screen. You'll see what I mean. Then you get this lovely intro image. Got the Tower of Doom. Now, I will say the colors do seem shifted in this, and there are a couple games where they seemed a bit shifted from the originals to the PS2 ports. This is actually how I got into Intellivision, this port. A buddy's dad had picked it up, and honestly, Thunder Castle was the game that just absolutely hooked me with that great little music sound and the animations and everything. It just blew my mind that came as a game to a system that was of the same generation as the Atari 2600. We'll run the tower today. Nice little 8 levels deep. It's still one of the easier dungeons, and now that I said that, I'm doomed to die, right? Could go with the novice. That seems to be my son's favorite because it starts out with a little treasure. Those who have been watching my Dragon Quest streams, one, thank you. I've been enjoying the hell out of making those. And two, you'll know from my random chatter that I've started a bit of a D&D campaign. And I say D&D is just an ersatz catch-all phrase for tabletop RPG. But I'm running the Shadowed Ark RPG system, and experience in that game is based on loot. It's an exploration and loot-focused game. So he's now in this sort of vein, I guess, where he's seeing the value of just having treasure on your character, because that means experience, as it does here when you find little treasures, you can cash them in. And the novice actually starts with a pretty nice, like, I think it has a diamond in its inventory right away. There's the warrior, the archer. Never been great at playing the archer in this game because you can only fire the bow in the main exploration screen as a ranged attack. Once you get into melee, it's bribe or run. I'm going to stick with the knight. Knight is my class of choice normally when I play this game. Start out with 3 spears, and not lances like I was saying in my first video for reasons that defy logic. Nothing happened when I hit that trap. Traps don't always damage you when you run across them. Just think of it as, disarming or evading them. I suppose evading is more common because it is more accurate, I should say, because there is a chance they'll hit later. I also like killing things right on top of the traps because as long as you have the stinky pile of rotting flesh, that's how I look at it. The old cadaver with circle of flies right on top of the trap, it won't trigger the trap. Now, as you could see here in world record time finding the floor stairs for stage 2, by the way. I'm going to do a little bit more exploring just for something like that. Pick up our diamond. Get a little XP. Now let's check out that screen above. Just see if we can find anything else. We know where the exit is. It's a time game too, so you don't want to get too carried away. Oh wow, we found a grenade or a scroll. Okay, we're going to drop the scroll. Pick up that candlestick because that's treasure, and lo and behold, we done leveled up. Yeah, I don't think we're going to use the magic scroll at all. But yeah, picked up a little bit of extra experience, and don't think there'll be anything of note in this room. But it never hurts to check. It hurts a little because you are timed, and hunger will get to be a thing. But let's go down to floor 2. But yeah, you could see the colors are glitching out here. I don't know if it was like that in the original, but that just seems to be the way this one is, and my goodness. If we were trying to speed run the tower, this would have been the run. Fortunately, I am more focused on you wonderful people and giving you all the idle chat I can in the way of content. So competent play and speed running be damned. We're here to talk and have a good old time and enjoy us a little bit of a game. Classic dungeon crawler. I wouldn't really call it a full-fledged RPG, but the elements are there. Certainly ahead of its time for its time. But I gotta take that back a little because this game came out. I know it was being designed for the early 80s, and that's when the weirdness with Mattel and the 83 video game Crash happened. Really playing with fire there. But this game didn't see a release until, yeah, you see that trap triggered. This game didn't release till 86. Whereas I've been playing that. Oh, wow. Yeah. Once again, we were just about to cash that in, and the enemy just sort of found its way in. Nice. We got the sword. That'll be my backup emergency weapon. Open that door there, do a little exploration, and then I think we'll backtrack and just take the stairs down to floor 3. But Wizardry came out in 81. So clearly a different mindset. And you are talking Wizardry being made for computers, which even at that stage had, more memory and more capabilities overall than what you're looking at out of a console. But still, an enjoyable game. I always have a blast playing. And I enjoy the fact that my son's been digging this, and the fact that between me playing as much Wizardry as I have over the past couple months, and him starting to get to Tower of Doom, like, my home has been invaded by 40-year-old RPG and RPG-adjacent gameplay. Just kind of a cool thing for me. My wife's been playing a lot of the cozy RPG genre, I guess you can call it. Things like Cozy Grove and whatnot. Got this skeleton chasing us in here. We got a little bit of a gem. I'm going to take a gamble here. We're going to eat our food now. I generally don't like eating the last bit of food because there is a chance you sort of run into some rough luck and end up starving. But we're taking that gamble. Get some hit points back and keep the dreaded hunger timer off us. Yeah, hunger also a thing in this game. Resource management is kind of at a paramount. Hey, another gem. Take that. We've so far got a big gem and a couple small gems, and I'm not mad at that. Cloak, risky, but we get magic protects you. So magical cloak, also not mad about that. Potion. Ooh, it's the speed potion. Always fun to have the speed potion. Now we're really only fighting what we want. Watch, we have to go through that trap back there with the white circle is a freeze trap. So if we got to hit that, I'm not going to be too enthused. Oh, there we are. Stairs down. Just take a peek back up here. We'll let that skeleton go. It can unlive to fight another day. Level 4. And back to normal pace. Picked up some food. So bully for us. Just a swarm of sturges. I guess since I'm running Shadow Dark, I could officially call those stingbats now, right? I do love how that's became the unofficial, calling card of the group. Okay, a little potion of healing there, and let's see what the ring does. Okay, the ring gave us the Apprentice Magician ability, so we could use the scrolls and stuff. And we actually picked up 2 of that same ring, so clearly this is the floor of the Apprentice Magician. Let's check out the green potion. Better barter. Wonder if that upped our diplomacy period, or if that's just going to allow us to diplomacy better, which is something I almost never do in this game because, again, I play the knight. And as the old Journey Quest quote goes, I am far too brave to show them mercy. Also been getting into that a bit. I want to say I saw a random episode of Journey Quest years ago when it first released. Very familiar with the Gamers movies by Dead Gentleman. Just for whatever reason, the zombie Orpheus phase just sort of eluded me. We're going to switch to the sword. Our spear broke. I typically don't like using the big weapon first when you find it. But I'm a swords guy. We know this. It's in my history. Take a peek here in case there's any treasures, and there isn't. But let's take the stairs down. Hey, more food. Not mad about more food. Now, if we get in trouble with inventory, we could just eat one, or if our life force starts getting critical, we can just eat one. It'll warn you that your life force is getting low, and then it'll say life force getting critical, and at critical, you start losing health due to your hunger. I'm going to avoid that trap because I don't think it's all that imperative we actually walk across it. There's a sketchy orange potion. Let's take the purple one, see what it does, and the purple one gets us ready for a fight. So far, only good things. And we can also add Apprentice Magician copiously to our resume. Now, I'm not going to eat a piece of food here because doing that will actually nullify the protection from our potion. It will lower our health. But if we get an open inventory spot, it wouldn't be a bad idea to backtrack. Actually, you know what? We will backtrack. Because I just remembered I picked up that ridiculous dart. And I don't need that dart. So we'll backtrack. We now got 3 things of food, which are fantastic. Wow, got a mace there as well. Just all the weaponry. What we're really after are like the gems and the necklaces, the crown if we could find it, maybe a grail. We're looking for treasure. But we've got resources. We're avoiding that trap square like nobody's business. Though it does look blended into the wall. And another thing I should point out, and someone will have to tell me if this happened in the original as well, but there's a fair bit of artifacting in that game, in this game. Like that trap square literally looks baked into the wall, and I think it was just trying to load a trap and a wall tile at the same time, so I think if we step on that, we'll actually be fine. Nope, I was wrong. I was wrong in the worst way, because this is a confusion trap, and now all of my directions are screwed up for the duration. Okay, battle seems to have alleviated the time to get out of that. There will be random monsters that won't attack you and traps that just don't trigger. Looks like we lost a lance on this level to, not a lance, a spear. We should start a game on how many times I call a weapon by the wrong name. Such a nerd. But yeah, on the stairs down there, I noticed one of my spears got turned into a potion. So that's a thing. Fortunately, we got this big old sword, and we're going to ride that for all it's worth. Also picked up a nice gem there. So let's go ahead and eat us a turkey leg. And then cash in that gem. And evade that skeleton. Level 7, 1 floor away from heaven. I couldn't resist. Did we actually start in the room that time? Wow, that's a rare thing for me. Almost never start in a room. It almost feels like the consistency of the D&D origin of campaign trope, where in this game, you start in a hallway, as opposed to at the beginning of a campaign, you meet at an inn. But yeah, we started in a room there. That was kind of fun. You'll notice a lot less random chatter and a lot more game chatter for me here, because this game actually is a bit more intense as far as management than, Dragon Quest and some of the other things, thanks to modernities of the time. I suppose I should say, the automations and quality of life enhancements. Let's head down to floor 8. I think we're going to pop that orange potion right away, just to see what we're at after beating this sturge that just flies into our face. There we got our chicken man. We're a tough guy now. That's great. Because by floor 8, you're starting to see some tougher things. There was like a basilisk earlier that sort of we just kind of walked away from. Pop another tough guy potion there. Our progress at the end of the game will be measured in 2 respects. And that'll be treasure and experience. And then we'll get a little stat layout showing how we got there. Be that strength, endurance for living through battles and accumulating hit points, diplomacy for barters and whatnot, which is almost always a base of 7 for me. But we'll have to see if we picked up any improvement on that one magic item. Most importantly, we got to find those stairs out here on the 8th floor. That's the biggie. Apparently, all you have to do is ask. So that was a nice, simple run of the tower there. Kind of tempted to poke my head around here, look for a little treasure. Because we're still in great shape. We're at about full health. Got spare weapons. Got spare food. Does this lead anywhere? Yeah, I think this leads out over here. Cool with that. You know, we should check out the room. Another tough guy potion. Drop the scroll. Even though we are an apprentice magician and could theoretically use a scroll if we wanted to. Okay, that takes us back to where we've been. Right now, the big thing I'm trying to avoid is teleporter traps. Again, this couldn't have gone better. Another tough guy potion. Speed potion. Speed will affect your foot speed and your attack rate, so you don't like to pick favorites, but that's your favorite 11 times out of 10. I'm sure there's more to find. I'm sure there's more to do. And once you have that exit in place, it's not so much a matter of pure survival as it is just sort of padding the stats a little, having as good a quality run as you can. But I don't know if there's really that much more that's worth a gamble on taking. We'll take that next screen over, and then we'll make our way back to the stairs. A bow. Blue bow. Not my combat styles. Only bad part about this is I find you have to sort of lead your turn a little. And my timing and reflexes, as evidenced by copious amounts of digital recording at this point, never have been the best. Kill one more giant worm snake thing, just for the gigs. And we are out of the tower. Just shy of full health. Got a couple level ups there. See us running out as such. And yeah, picked up 5,200 experience. Wow, diplomacy 6. Yeah, the better barter does not automatically give you a better barter. Stamina 11, where you'd expect it, and strength of 10. Strength of 15. Wow. Swear I could read. 2130 is our treasure total. Didn't see any crowns. So that was a different feeling there. But yeah, the colors just glitchy. Hopefully that helped on the comment, and hopefully you enjoyed that run. Now, I did say I was going to play some Thunder Castle, because I play some Thunder Castle literally every time I fire this up anymore. Probably my favorite thing about it is you have to bring up the little controller thing just to enter. There we go. First floor is great, and the dragon's already trapped. So, good signs already. Let's hope that continues. Got the crown down here. Not upset by that at all. Probably not getting the necklace there. Almost trapped myself in there. Got our kill. And got the heck out of dodge. Picked up the magic ring on the way, so that's a free teleport coming. That bat just missed. Never could decide if it was a bat or a bird. I think we're going to skip the teleport and go right for the grail here. See, the thing that they don't tell you is you can only activate the last treasure you picked up. So by picking up the chalice there, we sort of lost our ability to use the... and we got to skip the coins. Now just make our way back here and hope the dragon respawns in a timely fashion. And there's level 1. We were still active on our invincibility when the dragon respawned. That is the power of the Grail. Now comes one of the more frustrating levels for me. Just something about chasing this mouse around. Uniquely frustrating for me. Or maybe it's the number of times I get caught within walls and die simply because of that. Didn't quite make our way up there, and yeah, we'll have to make our way around. There will be some variance on how all of these levels are. Oh, that's the worst. Once again, did not lead my turn accurately, went straight across instead of down. And I got kind of greedy. I really wanted to find a way up for the Grail again, and it just wasn't going to work out. Magic ring. Not going to be mad about that. Now, if we get caught in a bad spot, we could always just... Wow. So the teleport is random, and that was a glowing example of it there. Pretty much told us there's 0 chance of getting the Grail twice. And now we're stuck in the wall. And now we've got to go back. Fortunately, we're heading in the direction of the pile of cash, the gold coins, and that'll give us 2,400. This may be the worst scoring round of Thunder Castle I've played in a while. I typically wind up about 10,000. Pick up the key. Lets us unlock a gate. Skipping that comb because the comb cuts our score in half. Nice dodge there. Pick up the lamp. That never does seem to work for me. But I know what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to extend the duration that you're invincible. We'll just use that. Grab the crown. Use the crown's ability to stop time there for a sec and get our first tap on a wizard. Now we have a green wizard and a yellow wizard. Pick up the necklace, the rosary, the cross, whatever you want to call it. That's going to give us a short-term speed boost, which we're going to use right now. Sort of yoink our way out of there, then use the ring, teleport across the map. Didn't quite get us a wizard, but got us in a decent spot, and oh, look at that. They gave me my grail. That worked out nicely. Got a wizard tap. We're up to 5 thou now. 2 yellow wizards. Getting the heck out of there. Just going to make our way up, nap the key for a couple more 100 points. Key very useful in that situation. Comb never useful in any situation. Yep, we'll take the L on that. Rather lose a life than half my points. Still got a couple lives left here. Let the wall drop. Let the mass run. And swing back for the grail. I'm going to keep calling it a grail. If you prefer chalice, cup, whatever. Oh. It's our candlestick, which is an extra life here. And we didn't quite get to it in time. And now we're in serious trouble. Should have turned up the alley. But we're at 6 grand with a couple lives here. The life before that, we really made some good headway. Can't get too good a head start with this setup. There we are. Nice extra life right off the bat. Not getting to the pile of coins. And probably losing our life right there. Should have cut up. It seems like that upper right tower is our safe spot where there aren't too many gates. So really I should be hanging out there. Let's see if I can gain any points past 6 grand. Up. There's the crown. Crown would be a worthy pickup. Another nice thing about the freezing of time is the enemies can't actually damage you while they're frozen. As opposed to when you're stuck waiting for a gate to open. then they could damage the hell out of you. Last life, and for whatever reason, the sound file just died in that intro. That all happened live. Get our mouse and some peace of mind, but we're really after the extra life here, and did just get there. Got him. Okay, 2 red wizards. Oh, almost got taken out. And then successfully got taken out. So at this point, it's basically on luck. If we can get a grail right away and keep these wizards in roughly the same place, then we'll be in good shape. Coins, not terrible. That gets us closer to 8,000, and at 8,000 you get a bonus life. So, of course, at 1 candlestick you get a bonus life. Wow. I thought they were both going to take the same path, and instead they divided, surrounded, and conquered. Advanced tactics there. That's just cold. Okay, ring. See if we can make our way down to that in time. No, just missed it. Oh, no. And there it was. There's the grail. If we had the ring, we had a decent shot at teleporting. 7,000 is where we end it. That run, not the best. Didn't even get to level 3 there. That was rough. But yeah, there's my daily playthrough. Not daily, but anytime I play here at Hal's Finery Pizza. Love loading that up. The sports games I'd enjoy more, but the ones I enjoy kind of got to be 2 players. Let's do some pinball. I forget how to. Okay, so the flippers are there. Okay, you could also use L2 and R2 for the flippers. That's probably what I'm going to do. Yet another game where you got to use the controller. Love it. Gotcha. Got to hold down. And then right down the drain it goes. Not the best first ball. Wow. That was better than the first try. Pinball is a game I've equal parts always enjoyed and never been good at. So it joins the list of every other game I've ever played. Quickly running low on our shots here. I think we get 5 balls in this. Insert joke there. And here we go, last chance. And out. Those sidewalls are rough. Let's try that again. We got to do better than $5,000. I mean, already off to a better start than last time. Just got to keep the ball more vertical. I say as it goes down a sidewall. But hey, 1260. We've had worse runs. Frequently. Okay. 4230. Not the worst. And that is the worst. But hey, 6-0. When you don't win often, you get to savor for so much less. 6130, last shot here. Then we'll move on to something I can play less terribly. Okay, 80-80. God awful, but that's what we got. And high score. Because nobody's played it on this computer yet. Let's do a good old Astra Smash run. I'm an auto fire guy. Now, Astra Smash is a game I don't have to focus nearly that much on because, again, I'm auto firing. More for the convenience of my thumb, but also for the convenience of my brain. So this is where we get to a bit more rambly territory. Did a bit more session prep. The main part of my game will pick up in full next week. Been on a little bit of a hiatus. Got a family session. Hoping to get another family sesh here in the next couple days. Wow. Could not evade the slowest tracking bomb of all time. Some days you just know you're in for it, you know? Working our way up to that 1,000, the level 2 spot. The Intellivision port of this game just has sort of a weird feeling. Well, I guess the original. Not the port. Where like the first couple levels in this almost feel too slow and disjointed, and then you get into the swing of things by level 3. So I've been planning things out with the campaign world mainly, just populating towns, getting some more of the world areas drawn. At this point, I've got an extensive amount of older RPG material for my D&D world, along with a bit of third-party material for Shadow Dark and a couple other things from other RPGs that I've really been sort of digging of late, and been working that in along with the locations from my solo RPG stuff, and just sort of fitting them into places in the game world I've been drawing up. I've got 2 sections of the map fully fleshed out, which assured me that I am the worst C student in art of all time. I always joke that I'm a C student in art. Truth is, I wasn't even that good. Teachers were just really generous. I had 0 talent. But I had realized when I was drawing the first hex map, and it didn't hit on me until I drew the second and tried to line the hexes up, that I made an entire row of hexes sort of squeezed in on the side, and also at a bit of an angle. But it all worked out. I got it straightened out and in line. It just means that the A column is kind of a joke for me. It's all water anyway, so. But I called my original map, I labeled the Kingdom of Terra Nocte for Nightlands or Darklands. And the second one, I'm doing a little homage to the old school. I'm calling it the Southern Reaches, because the Southern Reaches starts with the letters TSR, which of course was the company that became the publisher of the classic Dungeons and Dragons editions. So I've got the Southern Reaches, and that's going to have a whole bunch of different things. It's not just going to be classic D&D things, though I suppose I could have done that with the naming convention theming. But it's going to have that feel, and it's certainly going to be where I have more of my Tolkien-inspired lore dumps. The Kingdom of Terra Nocte is more or less just going to be... It's just going to be the generic fantasy of the campaign world. Up over 10,000 now through no fault of my own. I promise I'm not playing that well. I'm barely even looking at the screen. Just kind of chilling here on a Saturday morning and chatting to all you cool cats. Thank you for stopping by. Love when the asteroids take out the bombs for you. Bit more of the rough terrain in the Southern Reaches. A lot of travel is just going to be hand-waved by me, especially at higher levels, but there is going to be some hex crawling to this as well. I want my players to get the full experience, and again, this isn't going to be a linear story campaign, though it can have those elements. They're going to have options to roll up characters with different material, because as the world expands, I'm also going to expand into new class options and whatnot. Sort of like an expansion to an RPG game. So as that goes, hopefully they'll enjoy that. And I started theorizing with a couple of my players. One in particular does a fair bit of DMing and game design stuff. And I've always found it, when you have a player who does run games, and especially when they really get heavy into homebrewing, there's almost this unspoken ability acquired to separate player and game knowledge and not metagame too hard, but be able to detach and think about the game world outside of session as more than just a player. So I've been theorizing all of the fun things you can do with a roster of characters as opposed to a singular character. For instance, you could literally make your own, like, Thieves Guild and just start trafficking treasures and magic items to and from your characters. You can work information rings, and you can make alliances with separate factions and literally play both sides of the fence. Could also retire characters if you find they're getting a bit boring, or find a way to get a character from one part of the world to the other if you think they would really help out in a mechanical way or benefit from a storyline way in another area. Also, there's just going to be things that they didn't know were going to exist, because honestly, I wasn't 100% sure they were going to exist. Up to 19 lives, which seems like a lot, but eventually I'm going to hit like the next level up, and I'm going to start dropping them like crazy. Up, ran into our first UFO. Successful mission, took it out, no damages. That also will not continue throughout. Hate to set the bar so low already, but prepare for disappointment when watching me live stream. Wow, that looked good. And then I missed a giant bomb literally going right at me. Missed at point blank range. I've probably told this story on the channel before, but I'm going to tell it again because it's always fun. Got in a snowball fight with some of the neighborhood kids back in the day. And my buddy, we'll call him Steve because that was his actual name. It's been decades. And wherever you are, Steve, I hope you're doing well. Steve bested me in most athletic endeavors. Not surprising here, but the guy streaming Intellivision games on his YouTube channel, not a world-class athlete. I had enough athleticism to be considered borderline athletic. I was borderline competent in the things I did, but I was not, I would say, relatively skilled in most endeavors. But we get into this snowball fight. And one thing I had going for me is size. Like, I'm 6'4". I've been 6'4" for most of the years I can remember. Like, I grew tall early. And we're just running around. And it was like that high, powdery, drifty snow. We got a ton of it. So you know this story's old because I'm talking Pennsylvania, and winters just ain't been winters. But we get going, and we get right by the playground there, and I hit a soft spot, and literally my leg just shoots down in. So I'm sort of half kneeling in a snowdrift. And Steve just gets that big old smile on his face, starts packing the snowball in a little closer, and I know I'm about to get it. Sort of like right there where I literally teleport into the tracking bomb. Yep. Slid right by that one. And he walks up, and the eyes are big, and the smile is wide. And he goes to throw the snowball. And I'm just stuck in place. I'm not even trying to move, just kind of have my head slouched, just sort of take it and move on, right? Just hope it's not a yellow snowball. And he whips it as hard as he can, and it sails right over my shoulder. And oh dear God, the razzing we gave him. This poor kid. For the next several months, and to this day occasionally, I still think about it. Anytime something silly happened, the response within our little social group was, you missed him from 2 feet away. 2 feet away. Now that story was far longer than it had to be because that's just how I talk. And it was emblematic of me missing that bomb and a couple others because they were literally right in front of my face and I just couldn't connect from 2 feet away. 28 lives, nearing 40,000. Our next level up is at 50,000. Do thank you if you're coming to check this out. This is a Grumpy Old Guy Gaming doing a bit of an Intellivision live stream early this morning. Have the Intellivision Lives collection up on my emulator, and I'm playing through while I'm trying to be able to finish a sentence. Lovely morning. One thing I can say about my sabbatical is I've been feeling better, been getting rest. My coffee consumption is down by about 2/3. So at least things are getting back into balance. Caught that spaceship like crazy good. Getting a couple asteroids down here, and one gets us, but hey, still got 26 lives. Again, you're going to see the lives flying away here. Usually it's about level 5 that I start really dying heavy and often. But there's always runs like that too, where I'll drop 3-4 lives. If you've played Astra Smash or the Atari equivalent to Astra Blast, you know that's just kind of how it goes. It's sort of a swingy game. Astra Blast is a bit less forgiving. I don't know if that was a console wars thing where it seemed like ports of games to other consoles were intentionally made of a lesser quality. And yet I have heard people prefer the challenge of that one more. Also heard the Atari paddle controller was a godsend for this game. I don't mind controlling it with an analog stick. I'm playing on a PS4 controller, but if I was playing this on hardware, it would be a PS2 controller, which is basically the same setup. Wow, just nowhere to go there. Caught that one nick of time. Getting close to that 50 thou mark. Feels like we've been close to that 50 thou mark for a while. Those tracking bombs have been just the death of us today. Down under 20 lives. We're due for a rally, though. Wow. How nice it would be to not teleport directly into things. There it is. Getting a little heavy on the thumb there. Couldn't quite get my shot lined up. There it is. Just that little sidestep. Managed to evade the tracking bomb. I always like to get to one side before pressing the teleport. That way the odds of, not really going anywhere, even if it's a small teleport, it should be a beneficial location. Worked twice. Yep, not much to do there. Anytime you start hearing sound effects in this game, it's about to be a bad time. That much I can tell you. You get the little whistle sound for the bomb. I'm not going to go crazy with sound effects because it is early morning and the missus and the boyo are upstairs. I would say sleeping, but my son's light has been on in his room for a couple hours and I know he's playing Roblox. No chance of getting all 3 of those, so we'll just take one out, get our points, and call that a day. Getting close to that 50 thou, though. And then we'll start getting the black meteors in. The screen will become a lovely shade of tan. So instantly it'll look a lot less like a shooting in space game and a lot more like a top-down Desert Strike shooter. So close to that 50. You could feel it. Like, you could sense it. There it is. And back up to 20 lives. Which, of course, I promptly below. But hey, it's been a fun time thus far. Certainly getting our time usage out of this. That's the great thing about this game. Because of how swingy it is and how quickly you can pile those lives up, you never feel like you're cheated on a playthrough. You always have that one good run, and you see that high number of lives, and then you watch them more often than not whittle down in an incredibly fast and unfair fashion. But it's like the conclusion to an action movie where everybody's just sort of getting blown up and shot and everything in the last few minutes, just tying up those loose ends in a visceral fashion. Wow. See, that one I thought we shot in time, but it did just slide past. Catch that. Wow. Got real heavy-handed there. Did we pass the hour mark? I feel like I've been streaming for an hour. That's crazy. Clocks go forward here as well. So if you're in one of those places that observes daylight savings time, tomorrow the clocks go forward. Recording this on the 9th. Also, unintended consequences. The lives are whittling down, but we're almost at 60 grand. And it's simply due to the fact that there's so much debris flying at this point. You can't not shoot something. I say as I hit a prolonged period of not shooting anything. Just nick of time there, and I celebrate it by running headlong into a rock. Art imitating life. Thought I had enough time to shoot the bomb and slide out. Not the case. So close yet so far on that 60 thou. Just not a great run for us. See if we can rebound here. Now my son has high score on my computer on this. I just want to throw that out there as a bit of a heads up. I forgot about that, but yeah, there was a day he just literally sat down at my desk and played Astra Smash until he got that one lucky run, and he got a ridiculously good score, and it still sits because I'm a fan of letting the high scores stand. So I think 130,000 is the console record here. And I am nowhere near good enough this morning to even consider making a run at that. But the old saying is better lucky than good. And if I can get some good luck rolling here, I certainly wouldn't complain. We're back down under 8 lives, and you could tell because my number of ships is down to a line of ships. See, these things are just being mean now. They took my 60K away. Had to go back and get it. Bit of good luck there. I thought we were gone. I thought we were goners well before that mark. Okay. Wow. I just got too jumpy. 4 ships left in reserve. Yep. Just going to fight that one to a standstill. And it runs into a rock on its return. Picked up an extra life there. Not sad about that because I've certainly been going through them. Just a couple minutes ago, we were at like 20. I did tell you they'd fly fast. Good old Astra Smash. Intellivision lives. This is the PS2 collection. And this is a grumpy old guy gaming. Good morning, Excalibur 64. Glad you made it to the live stream, and good morning back to you. Hope all things are going well. Do apologize. I've been sort of staring off into the screen a bit there. Just chilling out playing some Intellivision this morning. I know Excalibur has been enjoying the D&D and DQ content, as I've been labeling it. Was just talking about the southern reaches, the first expanded area of the world map I was working on for the campaign. Down to 2 ships. Okay, I'm going to set a goal here, and it's going to sound a little crazy, but if we get a run here, I think I can get to 75,000. Or that can happen. Down to last ship, and that's just not going to be a thing. Did not get the goal in any way, shape, or form. 67,625 is our high, and that is not going to be close to the high score. There you can see my son at 132,410. 99,005 is the best I've done here. And I've been doing the AAA with my other scores of late. Not too terrible. I think we'll give one more run to Tower of Doom. And then we'll probably wrap it up. We've been going here a bit over an hour. This, by the way, is a ridiculous collection of games. I just want to point out on this collection. Cards and everything, not the biggest fan of it, but it's somewhat fun. I wish the chess game would be on here. Arcade's got like your Bomb Squad. Night Stalker, always fun. Pinball, I sucked at that royally a little bit earlier. Got our sports titles. The wrestling game is a riot to watch. Never have figured out the playing of it, but most wrestling games I tend to just sim and watch for the sheer goofy joy of it. Got our little kids section here with our crosswords. That's more like Scrabble, by the way. It's actually a really fun game. Then Frog Bog, always fun. Actually, you know what? Hell with it. Let's play some Frog Bog. We'll do Frog Bog instead of a second Tower of Doom. So the goal of Frog Bog is you're a frog and you want to jump and catch the flies. It's flies and frogs, if you're familiar with that. And as you can see, if you catch it, you get a little score. And it's your goal to eat more bugs by the end of the day than the other frog. Different bugs will have different point totals. Thought we had one there. There we go. Got a nice little lead now. Of course, a lead is only as secure as your ability to defend it. So we're up 105 to 35 at this point, and it's just pressing left and right. Like when they say this was a kid's game, this absolutely is a kid's game. Excalibur says, I've been well, and yeah, the D&D and Q stuff has been really enjoyable. Glad to hear you're doing well, too. I really am. Thank you, thank you. Hope all is going well. I know Excalibur does some game streaming as well. If you get a chance, check out his channel. Fantastic stuff, always. 180 to 35. Gray Frog's taking it easy on me today. There's really no other way to go. The spot you land on the pad is predetermined. In fact, you don't even have to press left and right. The last couple times, just for the heck of it, I've just been pressing right and it's been jumping back and forth. So if you have like a smaller child and you're looking for a nice friendly game to get them into, this is a great one. You can see the timer running down, not by a tick down stressing timer, but rather the lights changing. We're into our sort of sunset time here. Be moving into twilight and evening. Now up to 220 to 65, and there is something you unlock here if you finish a game with over 300 points. Not sure if we're going to get to that point as we're hitting our sort of twilight evening hours. And then we'll have a couple moments in night before the last couple bugs go. And there's a fun little surprise for that too that we'll be showing off here. Also a great got a couple minutes before we gotta go game to play. Because it is on that stable timer, and I think it's only about 5-10 minutes you end up playing. Here it is nighttime, and there you go. We get a little firefly action out of these bugs. That was our last one, and we only scored 260, but it was a solid win, 260 to 85. And that's the game. Stars come out, the game is over, and it's just that simple. Got a 260 there, so better than my last run. Just a crazy amount of games on here. Got armor battle and battle tanks. Not a huge fan of either. Biplanes is fun. Thunder Castle, the end game with over 5,000 points was the unlock condition. Thunder Castle, probably my favorite game on here. And Utopia could be a blast. Like, that's a full-on population world building civilization game on the Intellivision. The only issue with it on this port is you have to bring up the controller to use it, and with 2 players you're not seeing much of the game world because you're constantly just looking at the controllers in real time. So if you can find an Intellivision and the cartridge out in the wild, or if you could find one of those retro systems and get it set up, that would be the way to go to play Utopia in its fullest. I am feeling another run of Tower of Doom. Hopefully you all are feeling watching another run of Tower of Doom here. I think we'll just go with the Novice Tower and maybe the Novice class. 6 levels deep, and yeah. Let's see how we can do with the Novice. Again, I typically play the Knight. And yeah, we have a key and a gem right away. Go ahead, get that, and our quick level. I think I'm going to burn a potion here. Let's try that green potion. Speed boost. There are certain towers where the colors of the potion are fixed. So if you know them, you know them. And I believe there's certain towers where the effects change at random every time you play. Oh, we hit the confusion trap. This is the worst. Now we have to waste time in our speed boost waiting for forward to be forward. There we are. Hate the confusion trap. Confusion and freeze are the absolute worst. See a doorway here. Let's go ahead and activate the doorway. Got a magic scroll. Not going to bother with. Oh, wow. Downside of the speed. We just blew right by that door. Picked up a free spear. Not sad about that. And also, I'm going to try not to call it a lance, because it's not one. Kill the Sturge. Especially with the speed boost, like this reminds me a lot of solo RPG stuff, because you're just sort of going through, you get in your zone, roll it, encounter it, deal with encounter, and move on. Eat a turkey leg, because we got one right back. And back down to floor 2. Take out that big old snaky snake. I get goofy when dungeon crawling. I'm goofy in general, but just the things we will deal with. Let's take a chance on that purple potion, and yeah, that is but good. Green ring. We got magical protection in several forms. We have so much extra health from the potion, and we got some magical protection from the lime green ring. Got a Sturge. Stingbat. Getting into my Shadow Dark terminology proper. Got a Stingbat there, and now it is a Steaming Pylos Stingbat. Right at the doorway. I wonder if we back out and in, if that bottom line is going to be replaced by the door. Yep, there you go. You could just see the door peeking out there. Fun little quirks. Definitely a slower game, more low-key, more chill. Like, this is the grab a cup of tea and play while chatting sort of deal. Is Temple of Doom randomly generated? Yes, it is. Maps, items, and enemies. Yeah, I don't think the maps are set. You can choose different floor levels based on them, but I do believe it is randomly generated. Our healing is hastened, which is fantastic, but we have extra hit points, so if we run into a need to heal, that's crazy. Desert Coliseum. Hey, Bogan, are you a Bogan? Not that I know of. I am from the USA, actually. Oh, Aussies are Bogans. Did not know that. And you're in Indiana. Fantastic. Well, thank you for stopping in Desert Coliseum. As you can see, we're just kind of hanging out here, playing some Temple of Doom rather slowly because I made the regrettable decision to walk over that freeze trap. That's a teleporter square, which may help us, may hurt us. Playing Novice, Novice. This one, a direct nod to my son. This is what he was playing the other day. Hey, another lance. There we do hit a teleporter square with an already dead foe. And we find our stairs down. Still on our first weapon, too. So happy about that. Level 3, and we start right in a fire trap. Again, great. Be like everyone calling us rednecks. That is fair. I got you now. Do appreciate the context on that. And well, shoot. Been called a redneck a few times myself. Because, you know. Pick up the crown. A little bit of extra experience there, boosting that treasure score. Take out some bones while we goes. Sturge is but gone. Making our way down through and just basically looking for rooms. Rooms usually equal fun and exciting things. Our first run through on here, the mythical check to see if the colors will be glitchy for us. I actually got to start a floor in a room, which does not happen often for me here. Love an active chat, by the way, folks. Absolutely enjoying this. If you have any questions on, heck, pretty much anything, fire them this way. It's called white trash for wearing a PBR shirt. They weren't wrong, but you know. I appreciate that candor, and there is nothing wrong with PBR. For my beer drinking, I prefer Guinness. I actually keep some Lion's Head, which is a much smaller brewery type around here. But it's cheap, it's effective, it's a nice Pilsner. I love it for my cooking, which is where the majority of my beer consumption goes these days. PBR tastes better than Bud and it's cheaper, 100% on that. I am right with you there. I didn't drink much Budweiser. Love Guinness. A beer you could eat. Also loving the copious amount of food we're getting in this playthrough. This is one well-fed novice. The boyo would be chastising me. Flat out scolding me for throwing the excess axes. Only drank Bud Tall Boys. Well, you got to appreciate commitment. That's fair. I remember the one time a bunch of guys from the old card shop I went to came down my apartment and we were playing some Magic after hours. And the one guy was like, I'll bring beer. And it's like, okay, cool, awesome. And he showed up with like a 30-pack of Natty Ice. It's like, oh, okay. Well, thanks. Marlboro Reds and Bud Tall Boys. Gotcha. Never smoked. Always been around smokers. Smell smoke doesn't bother me. But I've never felt the urge to do. Needs something natural. Yeah. Certainly appreciated them going to the expense of picking it up and bringing it down. Not a required thing by any means. And it was a cool night of just chilling. Not usually a group I tended to socialize with much. So it was a rare treat for me and a chance to get to know them. Just started smoking cigarettes and you're 39? Well, unto each their own. I've certainly made enough life decisions that I know telling people one way or another what to do is one of the craziest things that humanity does. Best craft beer is Milwaukee's Best Ice. Never had it. I do remember the store I used to work at used to sell the old Milwaukee non-alcoholic beer. And we always joked that the girl on the can, since it was NA beer, was probably the runner-up in an actual beer contest to be the model on that can. And second place won the NA beer. That's going back a bit, though. Do we want to waste a spear here? The NA. Absolutely. Many will enter. She almost won. Well, I guess we kind of lost one there. So let's hold off on that potion until next floor. Got into a bit of trouble there. Our spear died out just before combat. Level 5, and we're still alive. Take on the Basilisk. Always a risky proposition, and there, that trap, very live. So we're going to try backing out the other way. Steady stream of enemies, and my biggest enemy, the dreaded freeze trap. We're just going to push through. The only NA beer that tastes good is Heineken 0.0. I will have to remember that. Got St. Pat's coming up, and I don't really go crazy for anything in the way of holidays, but one tradition within the house that is picked up. Oh, the pink potion was a freeze. Well, that means I got a minute crack the old back. But one tradition we have here within the house, as it's about the only way I could get the folks to fair, fair. I'll have one every now and then, like when I got company over. But yeah, it's mostly a cooking thing for me. And like I was saying, St. Patrick's Day, I'll sit there and I'll slow cook a corned beef brisket and make Reubens. Smoke a lot of weed next to Ohio. Gotcha. I got a few friends that have their cards, use it for anxiety and whatnot. Know a few who do it recreationally. Again, not a thing I ever really did. Just realizing now, saying this out loud, just how lame my life is. RPGs are my fixation. Antidepressants and anxiety meds. Fair enough. In life, whatever works, works. And it's always been crazy to me that, well, going on too much in that vein of thought will just drive a person absolutely up a wall. I do appreciate that. In general, I am a lame person. That is what I aim for. Because this commentary would be so much weirder coming from an exciting person. I know my lane. Had us another little snack here. And these are the steps down to floor 6. That went crazy smooth. So that's the Novice Tower. World of Warcraft and Jiu-Jitsu. Not lame at all. Heck, just keeping up with a hobby anymore. I mean, the world has just gotten to this crazy place. If you do things to impress others, that's the truly lame thing. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. There is a truth in that. Dang, you guys are making me think deep today. Like, is authenticity the true life's goal? Yeah, I've got 100% agree with both of you on this. There's something about being true to oneself that you just don't realize in the journey there. I think it's because you're so busy trying to find the best version of you in younger years. I'm going to have to table this a bit and think about it. Yeah, that is 100%. If you're self-aware enough to know to be authentic, you're winning. Absolutely are. Because there's just too much going on and time moves too fast. Having a rough discussion about morality the other day, and the quickest way I can boil it down is we've all got expiration dates. You just have to make the most of the time you got. But the most isn't necessarily the greatest or the flashiest. That is true. Most don't. But then some people are just naturals, and hats off to them. I did not realize just how fruitful a run we had there. Didn't pick up a ton of experience, though it did feel like we killed our fair share of monsters. That treasure score is nuts. Novice gets ridiculous amounts of treasure. Our diplomacy was at 9 for doing nothing. Wound up with a 12 stamina, which was better than the 11 stamina we had with our knight through 8 floors. People that play tabletop or video game RPGs are better at social skills. That is, that's an interesting observation. There was a guy that I had I had mastered a game for years ago. Trying to get more in the mode of saying GM and Game Master, as it's less tied to a specific property. Although it is worth noting this was a 3.5 D&D game. About a year or two back, he was in shopping with his mother, and his mother had mentioned that, yes, the weirdos have always been more interesting. But she had mentioned that all of his friends that played tabletop RPGs just seemed to have this narrative voice. She framed it as a radio voice. And I took that as a compliment. With a grain of salt, because my voice will forever in my head be Eeyore sedated. That was a description I got from a girl on the bus in elementary school. Started playing 3.5 and stopped when 5th came out. I started with the red box, the Frank Menser 1983 edition with that lovely Errol Otis box art. It was the same art they used for the cover box in 4th edition. Yes. 100% definitely a compliment, Excalibur. God, announcer for baseball games, that would be the life. I lived baseball as a kid as well. But yeah, I got into basic. Really played heavily in 3 and 3.5 because that was the wonderful time getting into that end of teenage into adult life deal where you have money and resources available, but you also don't really have a life and you're still connected to that friends group that you forged throughout the formative years. So free time was aplenty. The Essentials kit for $6. It's not a bad little way to play, honestly. I'd picked up the old starter kit, not the Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. But when they had it as Lost Mind of Phandelver, I picked it up for my wife. She was thinking of getting back into game mastering. And $6 for any box set is amazing just for the resources. But I ended up running the starter set for her and my son after a couple years, and we got through that, and we were playing through the Essentials kit after. Yeah, $6 is an absolute steal, and I can tell you that Essentials kit is nice. You get a nice little, what is that? Dragon of Ice Spire Peak. You get that little campaign booklet. You get all of those punch-out cards with the sidekicks and everything, and some magic items, and the dice in it are really nice as well. They're sort of the translucent red with the white numbers, if I remember. I think I still have that set in there. It's one of the few dice sets that I've managed to keep in a box and not, pirated out, absconded, or gifted to new players. Actually just changed out the dice in my own I've got a little chest that I use for my DM travel kit. Never GM'd or DM'd any D&D, right? Vampire the Requiem games and run them? Wow. Props to you. Vampire seems like a ridiculously fun system to run. Never got a game going around here with it. And GM'd Star Wars D20, which is basically D&D's Star Wars. That it is. God, I know so many Star Wars fans that would absolutely freak to get a game going. I feel like I would be letting them down. Local game shop closed and our Warhammer group doesn't have a home anymore. I feel you there. My buddy Rob used to run a store. Rest his soul. He passed in 2014. Actually, just a few months after my son was born. His shop had closed a few years before that. I want to say 2010, 2011 was when he closed it up, and we would hang out there every now and then. It was in the basement of his house at the time. The house has since been sold off and razed. It's now a parking lot. Your son is 15. Wow. That's got to be a fun time. Mine is going to be turning 10 here in a couple months. And my goodness, does sunrise, sunsets start welling up in the back of the old gray space every time I say a double-digit number in regards to that. Still remember when he fit on my forearm. There would be days where I would just sort of use my lankiness to my advantage, play some Adventure Quest or something point and click while I had him in the other hand, just sort of cradling him there. And only got one kid. Fantastic. Yeah, I've only got one as well. I always used to joke when people should tell me I should have another. It's like, nah, just keeping it at numbers I could count. Honestly, I'm happy. Family is wonderful. Nice, manageable size in our little house here. Getting all sentimental. They're still asleep. Well, my wife's still asleep. She's probably up by now because I've been rambling all this time. Nice. Yeah, those memories are incredible. I kind of got my son hooked on Monopoly in his younger days, to my wife's chagrin, because my wife is one of those people that kind of just wants to call the game after all the properties are bought up. And I'm a down to the last drop guy. While we're still here and enjoying this, like, I just want to check out some of these other things. So the Deep Pockets and Hard Hat are games you can unlock through other achievements. Gave them like 30 games for the 64. Yeah, retro gaming got ridiculous. I kind of blame my generation for that. We like nostalgia, but we definitely went about it the wrong way. We tended to value it monetarily and should have really valued it from a knowledge perspective. Conversation I had with a friend doing some Christmas shopping there. There was a new toy store going up in the mall, and it had a very KB Toys look to the storefront, the big block letters and everything, literally just brightly colored letters in blocks like the child's toy for your storefront sign. And it had a coming soon, but you look in there and you just see like mint in condition vintage collectible action figures on the racks, and you just know it's a store for old head like me who want their childhood back in the box. And that just ain't helping younger kids appreciate what's nice about that. And then we turn around and complain that they just don't appreciate the things like we did as a kid. It's like, no shit, they can't afford it. Sold my NES collection and went to the Classic. That's fair. I don't think I'll get back into retro collecting again. Don't blame you. I still have a collection of cartridges and things. I remember I gave one of my friends a whole bunch of Genesis games when they picked up a Genesis for their kids to play with. Still got a fair bit of NES cartridges. Paid $115 for Metal Storm. Yeah, I don't blame you. Like, I remember, and it's not quite retro, but the franchise is 20 years old, so I feel it gets into the same category because it's sort of falling victim to the same things. But I wanted the .hack series, physical, all 4 games, Infection, Mutation, Outbreak, and Quarantine, and I wanted them with the discs. And to get Quarantine, I think it cost me like $180. I think it's gone up since, and I certainly don't regret having it because it's fun to pull them off. Second most valuable cartridge was Terminator at 55. It's not bad. Excalibur says a buddy of mine is into retro collecting. We got a big flea market, go to a big flea market during the summer once a week and scrounge. See, that would be fun just to check out the flea market. There used to be a weekly flea market. I lived in some apartments right next to the local stadium in the town I grew up in, and it was just a walk down to the flea market Sunday mornings, and that was always a fun thing to check out. I remember some friends of ours were moving away once and just selling a bunch of random crap there so they didn't have to pack it in boxes, and I think we ended up walking home. I bought more pogs than a person could ever need, and my brother picked up a stereo, which I think he had for a good 10, 15 years there. Like looking at flea markets and game stores, never buy anything like I used to. Yeah, life kind of gets in the way of those little pickups. Retro games used to be 5 to 10 max. You really can't find anything cheap anymore. Even when you walk into like a store, we have a cartridges galore pretty close to here. And they have to online price because that's where the market's at. You know, they can't afford to get it in for less, and they certainly can't try to sell it for more. So you end up just paying for the convenience of not having to wait for it to ship. 76 NES games and played none of them. Yeah, it's kind of like the cable channels fallacy in a sense. You pay for 100 channels and you watch 2. I will say one cartridge that I'll probably be buried with is the NES cartridge of Wizardry. Got that off my buddy Derek when he was cleaning out his old collection, and that was the first Wizardry game I ever played. Trying to figure out what the spells did and whatnot. I may have had a computer around then, but it was dial-up internet, and I was not running from upstairs where I had the Nintendo to downstairs where I had the computer just to look things up. So that was an awful lot of notebooking and graph papering. Honestly, I could say the NES port of Wizardry made me appreciate the tabletop hobby so much more because it got me back into the little details of doing things that I had just sort of been hand-waving through 3.5 at the time. And then just last year, I kind of wanted to throw the cartridge for exactly one day because I was watching, I want to say the channel was Old Gaming Hermit, and he was live streaming the Wizardry remake for a while on his channel. And he pointed out there was a bug in the NES port where none of the armor mattered. I just thought of all of the grinding runs I'd done to get like the shiny chain and the sturdy plate, and it never counted for anything. Haunting how convenient everything is now. Can't help but feel like some things have been lost to the process. Yeah, no, that is absolutely correct. Digital and effortless can't be healthy. In a sense, it can, because it gives us those quick fixes. And in a sense, it can't, because you're right. You do lose something in the process, and there is something to permanency. I remember one time somebody was talking about Xbox Live, and they're like, yeah, for so many bucks a month, I have so many games and everything. It's like, yeah, but even if you download them, they're on that system. You're not going to back them up. You're not going to find another way to play them. And when they're gone, they're gone. So essentially, it's a long-term rental. Long as I've got functioning hardware, I could still plug in Wizardry and watch the sturdy plate not matter. I've got it on this computer. I got it on Steam. But at some point, if I stop playing Steam or I get locked out of my account, that's gone. It's a very weird space. Wonder if this is how my grandparents felt watching the world get more digital in the 80s and 90s, just sort of looking at everything and being like, not the same place, but still the same place. I feel like I should play another game. A, just to give you guys something to watch. B, I've really been enjoying this talk. I don't know. I'm not really feeling any of those. go back into this. Yeah, let's do some snafu. Snafu is always fun. It's basically competitive Snake. And I think we have to set game parameters so you get the lovely little pop-up of the controller coming up here. Let's go 2. How many rounds? Let's go 5. Select game 2, 5 rounds. We are the red snake. And it's our goal to just eat up as much territory as we can and thwart off other snakes and not run into another one like I did there. So as you can see, pink and yellow each got a point for surviving longer than we did. And blue got 3 for making it to the end of the round. There are blues out, and we are finally on the board. Yellow's got itself in a death spiral. And pink's got a fair bit of real estate, as do we, as long as we are careful. Get a little bit of background music here at the end. Oh, went a little heavy-handed there. That was 100% on me. There goes pink and yellow. And now it's us and the blue crew. Smashed into them exactly. 2 rounds left. We are 1 point off the lead. I thought we had a chance to just dive past and was woefully incorrect. Okay, tied for the lead. Just got pink and yellow to worry about. Just going to dive back here. Pink's going to exhaust its little box. Now it's down to us in yellow. We are in the lead with 6 points. Yeah, we weren't going to outlast yellow there. Heading into the last round, we have a slight lead. And we just blew it. Comes down to yellow and pink. I never was the best at that. Finished third with 6 points. It's a fun little game. That's a great party game. Like, that's the kind of game you could play with a few friends over on only one controller and just sort of laugh at how well/poorly it's going. Always fun. Another fun thing, you could look back at the box arts on this. I love the little extras in these. The radical gameplay modes kill me. You can play upside down, grid shock, where it's all just sort of bricked out like that. Ping pong, where you're playing as though you're playing on like a Windows 95 screensaver. That one's going to give motion control issues. Then reverse, where your controls are all backwards. You know what? For the heck of it, let's go back to the kids section. Let's play one more Frog Bog. But we'll play it with a radical game mode. I'm feeling the screensaver one. Frog Bog, radical gameplay modes. Let's do it. Ping pong. Let's play. Apologies in advance for folks who get motion sick, but this should be a riot. That is flying fast, too. Oh my God. I don't know about you, but I can't see a damn thing going on here. Caught one. Got ourselves a 5-pointer. Easiest fly that's ever been flew. Just missed there. Can't tell you which frog missed there because they were both in the air. This was what they call in the business a bad idea. But we're going to ride it out. 70-15, I believe, is the score. Thank goodness for block numbers. Could sort of read those in a hurry. $90-15. If we break 300 on this wonky gameplay mode, well, A, we've confirmed that I am the worst gamer of all time. Sound like a terrible thing to pair with a drinking game, or perhaps be the drinking game? Yes. I will go with you on that. That is equal parts terrible and brilliant decision. Sort of like the drinking in general. If handled correctly under the right context, can make for a great time, but generally are the stories we would rather talk about living through and learning our lesson rather than revisiting at a certain point. 205? Are we really at 205 in the first stage? Okay, it's official. This is how I have to play Frogbog. I don't think there's any refuting it at this point. Unless I hit the dry spell of all time. I think we hit that thing where it hit dead perfect in the corner. The stuff of the Office legend. Oh, I thought we had one there. We slowed back down. That first stage, we were a house on fire. Or on earthquake, I suppose, is a more fitting example. 260. 260-55. So it's been a high intake round of Frogbog. These frogs are not going home hungry. 280. And that's the game. 280. We didn't break 300. But we did get up to 280, and that's going to get the old initials here. We're going to gog it up. I should put the 0 in for the L. Armageddon happens, but frogs gotta eat. That, if Frogbog ever gets released, or Frogs and Flies ever gets re-released, that should absolutely be the tagline. Armageddon happens, but frogs gotta eat. I think that's our send-off line. Thank you, Excalibur. That was amazing. That line right there just made my day. Now I'm going to switch radical gameplay modes back to normal, because if I don't, I will forget, and it will stay on. But I want to thank you guys for hanging out, Desert Coliseum and Excalibur for a very lively chat, and hanging out with me for a couple hours here, playing some Intellivision, and just kind of living life. Hope your days go well. And I will be back on the uploads here sooner rather than later with the next update to the D&D campaign. I'm playing a little more Dragon Quest 2. That game has been all kind of fun. In the meantime, this has been a Grumpy Old Guy Gaming saying thank you for coming by. Thank you for watching this when you watch it. Y'all take care, and we will see you around.